tasty tetema, and we add tear gas Tuesday. That's right. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? You know we're ready, because when it's Tuesday, it's all about the docket. And you know the topic of conversations, all the stories that are making news around the country, around the region, around the world. Yes, indeed. We're going to go all the way to Haiti and back. And in the studio, as always, Edwin Obuya is in the house.
I'm ready for Tuesday. I'm very ready for Tuesday.
Leo hakuna suti, leo hakuna tai. Leo ni streets. Kabisa. We are ready for this. I mean, we can't be saying that we are going to fight the finance bill on radio only and on TV only. We started this fight. We ignited this fire. People got to learn about it. They took it up. They became disciples. They were totally sold out. They are fighting on the streets. We have to show them that we mean well. And I was there last week. And God willing, leo hata tunataka tushibe vizuri. After this ni kukula matoke na kuingia kwa streets.
Kama ni mbaya.
I think they are grasping for
straws,
anything that can make something sound like legitimate, because you know, when you hear Ichungwa speaking on one day, then the following day he changes tune. You know, he wants now to become so good, placate the youth and tell them, you know, you are doing a good thing, but do it in a certain manner.
Lakini akisema wanaenda
TKFC anakuja na Uber, sijua kwa na iPhone. You hear Sudi saying they don't know what they are doing, and then the following day he says, you know, we should listen to our youth, you know, we should do ABCD. Then you hear Alice Nganga saying what she says, and then you hear Kagombe being a Kagombe. You know, at times, I think the government needs to get their act right, even just communication, because they are all over, and I think this movement has gotten them off. They were not ready for this.
Off guard, kabisa.
You heard what Ndi was saying when this thing started. He was calling the youth the wankers. Actually, that's the word he used, and he said that politics is a contact sport, and he was doubting if the youth can leave Twitter and come to the ground up kwa streets. Now they are here. This is the second week, and they don't know how to react. Actually, when you hear Kindiki calling for a press conference and insisting there are no questions being asked, you wonder, then you could just have sent a statement.
Yeah, you're in press conference, Gani.
Because if you are going for a press conference and you are not allowing me to ask a question, you are just making me a conveyor belt. Because I need to also know, you are saying ABCD, then what is your take on ABCD? And I think the government, Meshiko off guard, even the president himself doesn't know what to say. Because now he's saying, you know, the conversation is not now about tribe, but the conversation is about, and that's the only positive thing he's seeing from this protest from the youth. and if they're not careful, this could be their Waterloo.
Most of these leaders that have retracted their initial stands on the Gen Z maandamano, and the president has a way of making them look bad, because if there was some coordination, some communication of sort in this government, they would know that their boss would say something like this, and therefore we shouldn't say this to just come thereafter and retract.
Look like a fool.
He left them with an egg on the face. They had to eat the humble pie, and it made them look even worse. What I'm thinking is happening is that, like someone said, these are formless. Unajua kwa Kiswahili kuna msemo unasema ukitaka kumuua nyoka unagonga nini? Kichwa. Unagonga kichwa. These guys have been looking for this head in this neck, and they have been unable to get this head. That is why you hear tales of Illuminatis, you hear tales of Russia, you hear tales of all these kinds of ideas of who is funding this. Now they are going for people that are only enjoying the freedom fighters of this generation doing their thing. People like in Oguda, someone who is using his online platform to convey what is happening.
Yeah.
You feel like this one knows too much. Anyone who sounds vocal on this matter somehow looks like that is the head.
I don't understand this administration. First, you are holding a very horrible finance bill in your hands. And then you are thinking the problem is the people who are on the streets. The day they will realize that they are the problem and that they are holding the problem in their hands, and if they drop that thing, this problem comes to an end, at least for now, then they will stop looking for the Gabriel Ogudas and all these young people they're abducting left, right, and center. Because the problem is them. I mean, sincerely, before they brought this bill, nobody was on the streets. Nobody was on their case. The young people were not going with Uber and passing by all those places they are saying Java and KFC. So I think they need to wake up and wash their face. We need to put a mirror in the room so that when they walk in and you ask them, where is the problem? You tell them, look at the mirror. That's where the problem is. So this thing of trying to look for the people who they are thinking are organizers of this government has organized a demonstration against itself by bringing a horrible finance bill to the floor of the House. And they are continuing to do so. And then they are wondering what's wrong with Kenyans. And then they throw two tear gas at us. And we tell them we want to reject finance bill. They go and make amendments and then they start looking at us and wondering what is wrong with us. The problem is with you, government. You are the problem. Look at yourself and see what you are bringing to the table. And that's what Kenyans don't want. So stop looking for problems elsewhere. The problem is with the government, the finance bill. There is no young person who has made a mistake in this country. The government is the problem. Let them go and fix their own problem.
It's even beyond the finance bill now. Because, you know, I think the finance bill is just a trigger that has brought out all these issues, the anger the Kenyans are feeling. You know, I think I've had the F word, F for finance. For I've had that word for as many times I've had for the last 40 years I've lived on this planet. Just the last 3 days, you know, everywhere you go, you know, finance bill, you know.
Hata nje ya Kenya.
Yes. Paka US unasikia.
Paka US.
Wall Street.
Finance bill Ruto, you know, finance bill Ichungwa, you know. The F word has been used so very many times because of the anger that you know, the finance bill has brought and just brought out what has been simmering for a long time. And so far, actually, we have like 9 people who have been arrested. I don't know if it's arresting or it's abducting. We have Oguda, we have Osama, we have Dre, we have Tempa, CR7, we have Harriet, Shad abducted. Shad is the one who was abducted in South B.
Yes.
And it's been now 3 days. Franja has been abducted. Waldsmith has been abducted, and Hila 254 has also been abducted. And this is an administration that had vowed that never again will police be used to play politics. Never again will Kenyans suffer, you know, not getting their human rights because of the politics that are surrounding in the country.
And it was the president who said that himself.
The president and even his deputy are on record saying never again will this thing happen. And Jeff, on the finance, you know these young Kenyans are very smart. You know, one of them was asking me, umeandika mbochi kwa nyumba yako, alafu anakupikia chakula, you realize it has poison in that food, and then unasema rudisha, and then the house help goes and says nimetoa poison, sasa kula chakula ndio hii. Utakula hiyo chakula.
Very typical analogy.
Utakula chakula. Na akaniuliza, wacha hata chakula. Will that house help still be in that house?
Never.
You will delete her.
Yes.
Delete foot and
Control shift.
Control shift and unamwambia left group.
Yes.
So that's what the youths are feeling right now. They are feeling that the government is not just feeling them. And because they say the finance bill is not, and Jeff, not passing the finance bill will not create any crisis for the country. We have a law that is already existing that is being used to collect taxes as of now. You know, we have a law that is already existing. So not passing the finance bill will not be catastrophic to the country. And I don't know why at times the government feels like they have to do what they need to do. And you had Mudavadi saying that not passing finance bill is like you know, having a vote of no confidence on the Kenya Kwanza administration. But that's not how I will take it, because the anger is real. You can't ignore this.
Everyone's trying to now associate with the Gen Zs. Even Murutu here, you just heard. Yani moja wao sasa.
In millennial ndio wanapenda financial support.
Is this sustainable, what they are doing?
You see, first and foremost, the prize for good democracies is eternal vigilance. I mean, who would have thought that Jichopevu would behave the way he behaved?
Imagine.
So as Kenyans vote and look for good leaders, what we need to do is to let them know that from now, moving forward, there will be no single day when we will give you peace just because we've elected you. You will know that there will be constant vigilance on our streets, on social media, everywhere. We will keep every elected leader on toes from now moving forward.
By the way, not even just Jichopevu. What about KJ?
Now, KJ, my MP, is between a rock and a very hard place. And actually, I like the fact that he attended a burial for a person from Dagoretti, and he went to Langata. Alinyang'anywa microphone. He was heckled, he was booed. We have the videos. Na akanyang'anywa microphone, akaambiwa, no, you're not talking to us after coming from voting yes to that draconian finance bill. And then that is actually, it's not the fact that people were drawing cartoons of him and showing him talking of the Maandamano as edited photos. No. The fact that he went to his own constituency and people are telling him your time is up, and then he goes online, and everywhere he goes, people are just now beginning to front names of his opponents, including suggesting that Fanya Mambo could buy in Dagoretti South. I mean, he's in a very difficult place, and I like that, because when we start a culture of eternal vigilance, where every time you keep them on their toes, I am telling you they are not going to do nonsense. But I also like the fact that people are beginning to live up to their names. Kagombe has proven that his parents were right in choice of name. Koibori has also proven. Koibori in Kikuyu, Koibori is Kubora, which means to speak, to say something that was hidden. So there has been a petition in court brought by Katiba Institute on the right of recall for MPs. They had gone and made the law very difficult. They had made sure that, you have to go to get orders from the court, you have to collect signatures, 50%. Now, the court has lifted all that nonsense. So to everybody who now felt like this is the time to recall their MPs, I think the fight we should be fighting now is to have IEBC constituted. The court has made it very easy. They have removed all that rubbish that MPs had put there to protect themselves, so that to make sure that they are not recalled. So it is actually it's possible to recall these people before 2027. The only challenge we have is that we do not have IEBC duly constituted.
Are you surprised at that? I mean, is that deliberate?
Of course it's deliberate.
Yeah.
Right now, and someone needs to move to court. I don't know why those constituents have not moved to court. There's this member of parliament who lost his life to a border accident, and they've not had representation. And there's no taxation without representation. In fact, if I was them, I would be saying the government should stop collecting taxes from our constituency until we have a member of parliament.
There you go.
Because when you do that, then they will find a way to make sure that IEBC is constituted. And there are a few other wards that also don't have members of a county assembly.
Quite a number.
Yeah, we remember we lost one in Wasingishu.
Yep.
So what should happen right now is IEBC needs to be constituted. And then we start, because I can tell you today there's Occupy Dagoretti. I've had there's Occupy Kikuyu. People are going to the MP constituency offices, and I can tell you they are holding them now to account. And they are telling them, in fact, even collecting signatures, we can start collecting immediately. We don't have to wait for 2027.
The previous years, it was just lamentations. You lament and then you forget, because we have so many problems in the country, so you deal with the next problem that is coming. But for the first time, you saw protesters going to Muhammad Ali's office. We saw Captain Rueda being chased from her constituency because she voted yes. We saw Jerusha Mumanyi in Kisi being chased away from her constituency, because Kenyans are angry. Jeff, I will. This finance bill has just been, something that has lit up what has been simmering underground for a very long time. And if MPs are not careful, most of them are not going to come back, because you might think that they are going to forget, but the Gen Zers are telling their parents, kama unataka kupigia ukura ndachukua ID yako that day, because they are angry, and these are people who are informed. Si ati ni wale watu walikuanga wanaenda kurusha mawe. No, he is going to the street, or she is going to the street armed with knowledge. Anajua finance bill in out. You cannot try and tell her or him that unajua hapa unadanganywa. Ameenda mwenyewe akaichambua. They have used paka AI to chambua all those things just to know where the truth is. And so these are the people who are informed, and that's why Fanya was asking, how do you tear gas a body? These are not your average brains. These are people who have gone to school.
Yes.
And the finance bill, I saw people translating finance bill to Kinuthia, and they tell all those people who cannot then understand English, they translate to Kinuthia just to let them know that this is how bad this thing is.
Thanks to AI.
Thanks to AI and to their knowledge. These people have brains.
This is not even about the finance bill anymore. It has gone beyond. You saw them bring in the issue of accountability, budgeted corruption, all these things. And one of the things they know will bring a difference, will make a difference in actualizing all this they're fighting for is if they go to the ballot. They are mobilizing for voter registration. Unfortunately, again, I heard them complaining that right now, even if you wanted to register right now as a voter, they will not take you in because they will tell you IEBC, they will give you excuses and they will not take you in. Again, that is an area to be looked into because some of them are being frustrated. But to add to that, Jeff, remember what happened in churches on Sunday across the country. Parents, I heard people saying wazazi with the Gen X and all those wanaogopa, but they still live with the fear of the Moe era and stuff.
Yani sisi.
Akina nyinyi sasa. Akina nyinyi.
Yes.
But for these ones, they never felt that, so they have nothing to fear. And now, their parents who desire to do this, you know what most leaders who are making careless statements are forgetting is wazazi wao wa Gen Z si ati kwa sababu wanapenda kazi yao sana, hawataki kuja kupiga kelele. They did not just know how they can participate without the police clobbering them and doing all these things that they do for maandamano ambayo imeweza kushuhudiwa in the country before. Right now, the parents are behind these Gen Zs. You can't tell me hao wazazi wameshindwa kucontain watoto wao. It is not about that. We would have one or two parents who would ground their children and say, let me not see you anywhere around those things.
Right.
But parents right now are saying, let us support our children. And they got that opportunity during the Sunday services across the country to voice that support for their children. You see, when church leaders and pastors and bishops stand and say, listen to the Gen Zs, it is not just them saying that. It is that congregation, parents and all the likes that are attending church, that are from society, that are saying,
Uliona Jackson always up it.
yes.
And
For about a month, the president was thoroughly scared of Rigiji. When he started this a villager movement, and it was beginning to peak, and it was looking like the replacement for William Ruto is going to be Rigiji in 2027. And then there comes from nowhere people who have made that villager movement a village movement, because it's nowhere now. In fact, as people do their things for 2027, they've sat down, they've picked up their calculators, and they're beginning to ask themselves, wait a minute, it's not business as usual. This nonsense of tribal balkanization, saying I'm coming with Western region, I'm coming with Mount Kenya region, is now looking like it's not going to work. Because if these young people, the way they said, hawataki kuona mama mboga ama mtu wa boda boda karibu na polling station, that's what they said. Those are the people who've messed this country. When they begin that campaign of saying they want intellectuals in spaces of leadership, and they want to vote for people who've been to school, and they want to vote for people who are young and intelligent, and when they begin to persuade and convince their parents and their uncles, what then will happen is that politics as we knew it in 2022 will be very different from politics as we are going to see it in 2027. Because even if you frustrate their efforts at being on the ballot, or having having voters cards, what they will do is that they will decampaign those people who are frustrating their efforts to have these cards. And I can tell you 2027, the young people are not going to be wished away. They are not going to be ignored. They are going to be at the table and they're going to make very important decisions. But there's something, Jeff, that happened over the weekend that we may have forgotten to mention. You know, there was furniture for 1 billion shillings for State House. And, you know, you didn't go to State House during Uhuru's time. I was lucky to have gone there. You know, Uhuru was sitting on plastic chairs. And then there was no sink for washing your hands when you get there. I think alikuwa naoshwa mikono na jug. I'm also thinking, I'm also thinking that, you know, State House, they had that Great Wall TV, the red one you turn on like this. And then the visitors' chair was like the bench, the one you use on JKL Live. So there was this urgent financial need to buy furniture for State House for 1 billion shillings. 1 billion shillings. 1B. And sometimes people don't understand what 1 billion means. And I was looking at the school feeding program. And I want Kenyans to take their calculator and take 1 billion. 1 billion is simply 1, and then you put 9 zeros after the 1. That's 1 billion. Now I want you to divide that by 20, because when you come to Dagoretti South, where I stay, this tap to eat program, children pay 20 shillings per meal. If you divide that by 20, what will happen is that you'll get 50 million plates. So when you have 50 million plates, if you divide by 365 days, it means that you can feed 137,000 children for 1 year. That money has gone into buying furniture for State House. And that's what makes it very painful. I think, to put it better in perspective, if you took that 1 billion and added only 200 million, all the intern doctors who are on strike would be sorted for a year.
What?
Yeah, the interns wanted 1.2 billion. That's what they wanted. So they would be back to work. If you took that same 1 billion and you decided we don't have enough teachers, right now we have a challenge of especially teachers for junior secondary, and you said you're going to pay each of them 35,000, you would have 29,000 teachers employed for the year. Let's take 1 billion, divide by 35,000, you'd employ 29,000 teachers. And by the way, if each teacher is teaching 50 children in a class, then it means you would impact the lives of 1.5 million children, because they would have teachers in class. That is what it means when you take, and by the way, again, you take the 1 billion, this one I will give you the maths. The ladies told me that a lady for the month, she needs about 80 shillings on sanitary towels or pads or whatever they call them.
That's the cheapest ones.
The cheapest ones. Of course, forget those who are using high-end ones.
Yes,
they're affordable. They are called affordable ones.
Sorry.
So if you take 1 billion again and divide by 80, you will see how many young girls would have sanitary towels for the whole year. That, because I don't want to give you everything so that you don't become lazy. As I've always told you, you have to work hard because of Zakayo. So basically, that 1 billion has gone to buy furniture for State House, and nobody is telling us where the old furniture has gone. But because I've always been a critic of this government and I've never given solutions, the other day I went to buy honey at the National Beekeeping Institute. And that place is a parking lot of GK vehicles since 1992 that have been grounded. And some of them, you're being told, ile ni alternator tu iliharibika, then it was parked. That one, I think the battery was stolen at night and then it was parked. If this government was to auction all the vehicles that are lying in government premises from the various ministries and parastatals and departments, trust you me, would have a lot of money. I'm sure it would be in the billions, because at beekeeping alone there are about 30 cars. And if you go around the ministries, and people now can begin to relate and think of where they know, there are so many GK vehicles, and you know, they buy brand new cars. They buy from Toyota Kenya, they buy from all other sorts of places. And they want to buy new ones again. So as you first think of how to finance government, let us think of how much stuff is lying waste. Everyday government is buying furniture, by the way, starting with what State House has bought. Now the ministries and the departments. And we are never told where the old furniture goes.
Furniture must be a big thing.
Government must begin to auction all that stuff that is lying idle. First, we'll have money to put into some of the things that we need. Hata kulipa madeni ya China.
Obuya, is it surprising that this movement has gone countrywide, if not worldwide? It's global now.
It is.
We saw LA,
in
DC,
LA,
and
DC,
DC, yes.
And once you remove tribe from the problems that Kenyans face, then we are facing almost the same things. The problems that a youth in Buhalalira is facing is the same problem that a youth in where Koimburi comes from is facing. They are just the same problems. So I doubt if there's because Jeff, what my anger and the anger of a youth from Lamu is almost the same. Most of those youths mtu ameenda shule,
but for a youth from Meru is a lot more anger.
And Kisii.
Pigania.
So the anger is real, and because once you remove the tribe, then you now focus on the issues that are facing Kenyans. And Jeff, I am you hear Fanya Mambo saying what he's saying. The issue of Kenyans is not about money. We have the money. We have the money. The biggest issue has been the expenditure part of the government
and the corruption.
Because I saw Bill Okero, yes, he was saying Kenya collects more money than Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda combined. Yes, combined.
Yeah.
The economy of Rwanda and Tanzania and Kenya and Uganda is Kenya drafts all of them. But where does our money go? Pesa inaenda wapi? Inaenda kwa Harambee 20 million a weekend.
Cash.
Na unabeba kwa mgongo hivi. Cash 20 million. Kama umetoa kidogo ni 3 million. And your salary is not even 1 million. Hii pesa unatoa wapi? And Harambee had been used by Moi to kind of hoodwink Kenyans. And tokenism, unaenda ukipewa hiyo 3 million unasema this is our savior. When Kibaki came in, Kibaki's administration, they had actually passed a law to ban public servants from participating in Harambees. At least it was 1 year to an election, and there was that law. Where is it now? We are back to where Moi had left us, where mtu anakuja, the only thing atakufanyia ni kukupatia hiyo pesa ya Harambee. Hata before elections were being told, anakuja anasema ni 5 million, anakuambia hiyo 5 million nimetoa, nitakuachia 2, hizi 3 wewe nipatie. Na uwezi kataa because utakataa 2 million. Where will you get the 2 million?
Correct.
And so I think this movement is good. We need to put people like Akina Oscar Sudi to account. They need to account where are they getting this money? Where are they telling us that Kenya is broke? When President William Ruto anaweza kosa kwenda Harambee na atume 5 million na hajaenda, hiyo ni kile siku hajaenda, ametuma tu Recho for example, anaenda kutoa 5 million. It is insulting to Kenyans that Jeff, mimi I'm struggling, even the little I'm getting, the salary I'm getting, it's being slashed left, right and center. I can't, hata ukiniambia nitoe 5,000 kwa hiyo Harambee, I will have to tell Fanya Mambo nitumie mbili, Mrutu nitumie 500 ndio nipeleke hiyo 5,000.
Wakusindikize.
Wanisindikize. But you here, a public servant and my employee,
yes,
unatoa 5 million
without blinking.
Yes, on a Friday, Sunday unatoa another 5 million. Unatoa wapi pesa?
Mrutu.
And that brings me to what the villager said in some village in Muranga over the weekend. Although he insisted on speaking in the village language, but we got people to tell us what he was saying. The villager says the script of the coffers were empty is no longer holding. He said it. And I was like, Mulisikia, we were telling people we found the coffers empty. But every weekend you see, mnaona watu na magunia ya pesa. Wanatoa pesa left, right and center. So it is true. We do not have a deficit in the finances in this country. What we have is we budget it in a different direction, corruption. Budgeting it for people to enrich themselves within the period wamepewa kukua mamlakani. You see, you are furnishing an institution like State House with a B+. Some furnitures you're buying will never be sat on for the 5 years that you that you are in that State House. And then within that period, you will again have the desire to change the furniture that you bought with a B that has never been used. You're changing it to spend another B. But of course, we know what happens. That B is what has left treasury, but is not what will be going to furnish State House.
Exactly.
That is what is happening. So again, it is the budgeted corruption.
Kabisa.
That is why this movement, worldwide as it is, should be sustained. I am looking forward to hearing this evolve into issue after issue until 2027. If recalling will not, if they will deal with IEBC and recall fails to bear fruit, that it evolved from the way it happened, from finance bill to accountability, from accountability to
actually
the leadership.
The chorus is Ruto must go. That's the chorus. And the IBC law was passed by, the bill was passed by the Senate. It went to the National Assembly. It was passed on Thursday. You know, when after the hula baloo about the finance bill, it's kind of, the bill passed after the finance bill had been passed without many of us realizing that the bill has gone through. So the bill has gone through. The president should be ascending to that bill because the National Assembly did not make any amendments to what the Senate had made, because they said the what the Senate had made were minor amendments. And so the bill has gone through in the National Assembly. We're expecting that the president then should be ascending to the bill so that then we start the process of selecting new commissioners, new IBC commissioners. And so MPs should be worried. Kagombe should be worried.
Nakamburi,
Koiburi is okay. Koiburi is now.
KJ should be worried.
KJ should be worried.
Yes,
actually,
he's the whistleblower on the 2 million.
Alice should be worried because you know the anger is real. The anger is palpable. Kwa ground.
What I want to see is how KJ will vote today. Because this guy went to the point of doing an apology. He actually wrote a letter which Gen Zs have been printing and then flashing in the toilet and taking photos and saying that's what they've done with his letter. So, and I want to see whether these people are truly remorseful, because I doubt that the total number of votes, if they vote, will be the same as, I am sure there are people who, unajua ukienda kwako uoshwe na maji, uenda kwako upigiwe kelele. And then there's Occupy now, the various, because today people are occupying the CDF offices today. And even you saw even Wajia, that woman who was rapping insults, and she became famous overnight. The leaders in that area are also worried. And I'm sure they've been having meetings even with themselves. You know, when you sleep alone at night. On your pillow, you have a lot of conversations with yourself. And I can tell you the voting today will be somewhat different. Some might even choose to abstain or hide or pretend to be in Nairobi hospital admitted. Because I can tell you they know a similar mistake on the ground will cost them dearly. But having said that, there is this thing of now that we are here, what next? And I have been saying we have always provided leadership. And the next thing we want to do within the energy sector, you know, there are those 5. There's the Kengen, there is a KPLC, there is Ketraco, and so on and so forth. Without being very specific, I'll tell you there's one procurement officer whose parking lot today looks like a showroom for high-end vehicles. He has a Prado 2024, he has a V8, and this person, by the way, has been in office for a year.
What does he do?
He works for one of those energy sector things. He was just employed for procurement. He's within the energy sector. The time will come for details.
You know,
so what are we going to do?
From the energy sector, people from one region.
Yes,
correct.
They speak one language during the board meetings. It doesn't have to be Kiswahili or English. So we have made a decision as young people, I being a millennial, that people will not enjoy what they steal from us. And one of the things that I want Kenyans to start doing from today is to start marking so and so. We know the good thing with salaries of civil servants are known. The skills are there. We know your job group and we know how much you earn. So we'll start painting. Fanya Mambo earns 250K. He is the CEO of this company or this particular parastatal, and then he has 7 vehicles. One of them is a V8, and he's worked for 1 year. So we start posting everything, including the watch you own and the belt you have, to the point that you'll be afraid in public, because people now know your belt is 200,000. It can be removed and your trousers will fall. We will make it very uncomfortable for these people to enjoy that wealth in this country.
In the streets, there'll be...
We will make people will tell us, we will advertise the vehicles their wives drive. We will tell people where their children go to school. We will make so that For you as a public servant, you have two choices: to live a life that is not lavish, or to exit and go to the private sector. Tujue wewe unauzanga mandazi na uko na pesa mingi ya kuendesha V8 ama whatever it is that you do that has given you that money. But I am telling them, anybody who is in the public service, once we are done with finance bill, we are coming for you. That is the new frontier. We are going to paint the whole internet with everything about you. You will be in such a difficult place to explain how within a year you are driving all those vehicles. So you have two choices. One is to sell those vehicles and start driving a Probox, or the other one is to resign. But we will make sure that you will not enjoy what you have stolen from us. And Kenyans, I want you to pick this up. That from the minute we are done with this finance bill, we start identifying the civil servants who are living lavish lifestyles, and to post their salary, and to post their cars, and to post their lifestyles, and to post their families, and to make it so uncomfortable because your number plate is known everywhere. We are not going to stone your car, but we shall make it so known that that's a thief of public money. Mutahave kuuza, mutaendesha NZD.
Don't forget belts and watches, guys.
Unanunua belt ya crocodile ile.
Yeah, 600,000.
600k.
Na saa ni ngapi?
6
million.
Hey bwana.
Saa kwa mkono.
Yes.
Ukitembea na 6M kwa mkono hivi.
River Road utakatwa mkono.
Hiyo ni ngeta.
No, mkono very easy to cut the hand.
Guys, real quick before I let you guys go. So we made so much noise about our police officers going to Haiti. It made no impact at all. 400 of the 1,000.
That was a cast die.
You know, they had been promised 100k
before they go. Wakapatiwa ngapi?
20k. That's just how our government works, and they're not even so sure if they are going to be compensated for being there.
Right.
But government is tayari shapokea pesa ya kutoka US, to facilitate the whole process. So if I'm a police officer and I volunteer to go to Haiti, and in my mind I knew that I'm going to leave my family 100,000 shillings, ama wacha nitawachia 70, mimi nitaenda na 30 ni survive nayo huko. Unanipatia 20, nifanyie nini sasa? Nifanyie nini? Nitawacha ngapi ndio niende huko na ngapi? You know, it doesn't seem to be working.
Sad.
It doesn't. The government just doesn't seem to be. Anyway, the less I said, the better.